Welcome to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Real. Taking time out of your day to come watch this episode. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate that as well. That's the best way you can support this channel and help me grow my content and grow this channel to where I'd like it to be. Everybody hit the like button for me on the way in on this video today. That also helps promote this video more in the algorithms, helps grow this channel more as well. Please share this content. I would really appreciate that. My guests would as well. If you would please share this episode with someone you know that maybe is interested in the topic we're talking about today. Please leave a comment below as well. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback. You can interact with myself and the guest on the panel and the live chat as well. Whatever we're talking about, just leave a comment there in the live chat. Pop in and say hello. We'll put it on the screen for you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to the show. Welcome back to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Hope you guys having a great Sunday night. Hope you're having a better better than this Sunday morning when watching the Browns lose again. Welcome into The Real. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, and share. I got my man Mike Antonese up here tonight. Mike, what's happening?
Hello, beautiful people. Not much. Just chilling at the domicile. Woke up early this morning. Had an Irish coffee, trying to watch the Browns, and pluses and minuses.
Coffee, did you?
Huh?
Coffee didn't bring us any good luck, did it?
No, it didn't. No, unfortunately not.
But welcome into The Real. Shout out to we got Rolo in the house. He said Marvin Lewis line one. Tori's in the house. What's up, Tori? He said fire Kevin now. I feel like we're gonna see a lot of that tonight. Rose says Holmgren ate the game plan. And then Buckeye Wildcat, thanks for tuning in, my friend. He says Stefanski needs to give up play calling duties to Tommy Reese, which is something I've been saying, Mike, for a couple weeks now. And I agree with that. So welcome in. So I'm going to give my take real quick on the game. Mike's going to give his take. We got two guests in the back tonight. We got a very special guest joining us tonight. Stay tuned for that. And what you say, welcome on in. Say hello, Joe and Michael. What's up? What you say? Good to see you. It's just never enough, Mike. It's just never enough. And that's what I felt like watching this game today, Mike. Obviously, it was Dillon Gabriel's debut. I'll give my quick thoughts on Dillon Gabriel. I thought Dillon Gabriel did everything he was asked to do, Mike. I thought he had a really good game today for his first time ever in the NFL for first overall start. I thought he did really well. I thought he got the ball out in the checkdowns at times, Mike, where we didn't see that in the past, that some of those plays turned into 3-4 yard gains, kept drives moving. I thought Dillon overall did what he was asked to do. And that's all you can ask from a first-time, starter in the NFL. He did enough for them to win the game, just like Myles Garrett said after the game when asked about it. And so I thought they finally ran the ball a little more today, Mike. I think it was a really balanced attack today. I think they ran the ball. What was it, Mike? I got it right here. Quinchon had over 100 yards, which is the first 100-yard rusher for the Browns since what was it? November 12th, 2023. That's a long time, Mike. Almost 2 years.
Very long time, yeah.
Very long time. But the Browns ran the ball 32 times today, 4.4 yards per carry. Passing attempts 33. So 33 to 32, Mike. That's what I'd like to see.
I like that better.
I like to see that balanced attack. Where I think the game went wrong, though, Mike, they're running the ball well. Defense, I thought, did pretty well for 3 quarters, maybe 3.5 quarters. When we got to the fourth quarter, Mike, and we had every opportunity. We were up by, 3 points, Mike. We had every opportunity to put that game away and go up by at least 10, go up by 2 possessions. I didn't like the drives. We had 3 drives, Mike, where the first play, I didn't like the sequences in any of these drives, the sequence of play calling in those drives in the fourth quarter, Mike. Not the first one. The first one we were pinned down on the 1 yard line. All you could do was run it every play. The last one obviously was 25 seconds left. You're just trying to chuck it down the field. I'm not counting those. The 3 drives, the meat and potatoes in that fourth quarter, Mike. First play, and I've been talking about this a lot. And Jonathan Vilma, who called the game today, mentioned this on the broadcast on both of these drives that he did not like the play calling, certain play calls and some of the sequences of play calls, which is something I've been calling out for a while on the show. The Browns tend to a lot throw the ball first on first down, and they just it's like sometimes they just don't run the ball first on first down. Try to get those pottage yards. If you run for 4 yards at an attempt, if you get 4 yards. Now you're 2nd and 6. Now you can call something else. Maybe you can call a screen, or you can call play action. Maybe get the first down or get to a 3rd and 1. Then you can run it. You're staying. It's called staying on schedule. Football situational. 1st and 2nd down go together. 3rd down's a situation in itself because you have to convert the 3rd down. Red zone's a situation, right? It's situational football. Excuse me. And I did not like the on the first drive, we passed the ball first, and then we tried to run, and then it was 3rd and long. We missed the pass. We didn't get much on the 2nd down, generic running play just up the middle. No, I wasn't at the middle. I think it was to the outside. And then now we're in 3rd and long. We're putting a rookie in 3rd and long in the 4th quarter of his first game. Second drive was a penalty. Browns have had plenty of those in terms of penalties for the last couple of years. They get a penalty. Now they're backed up. So now they have to pass on the first drive, or on that drive, on the first play of that drive because of the penalty. Now they're 1st and 15. So now they have to throw it. And you're behind schedule again. Third drive, they've ran the ball more effectively, which I've broken down the film on it for weeks now. And Mike, you and I broke it down last week on the film session we did before after the Green Bay game, where I said they should run the ball more vertically in between the guard to guard, in between the tackles. Right, Mike? We've talked about that. What was that, 2 weeks ago? That interior is where you can count on right now. Pochich, Teller, and Petonio. Your tackles are in flux right now. You got guys coming in and out. Cam Robinson was in today, then he was out. You're trying to get him acclimated. You overseas the week you bring him in. Your tackle's been a mess all year. Okay, so you've had guys either injured, or you've had old guys like Cornelius Lucas, or you've had projects like KT Livingston, or you've had guys you just traded for, and Thayer Mumford and who was Cam Robinson. So the guys you can count on is that interior. And when they run the ball more in the interior, Mike, whether in pulling guys to the second level, getting ahead on the linebackers, pulling the guards in a gap scheme, wham blocking the tight ends, we're pretty effective actually running the ball this year with Quinshon Judkins. And so, but on this third drive today in the 4th quarter, out of the 3 I'm talking about, Mike, they decided to run the ball just basic zone to the outside, and we get swarmed. I think we lost 1 yard on the play, or it was either 0 yards, we got 1 out of it. And now schedule again. It's like, I feel like the problem, and in particular with Kevin Stefanski today, that's really who I'm talking about tonight. As you can see right there, it says with the hot seat with the arrow. And I got to be honest, Mike, I feel like Kevin let the team down. I know everybody wants to talk about the defense, and I know the defense for once this year didn't have the best 4th quarter. And, and that last drive definitely should not have happened. Denzel messed up in the zone coverage today, which he admitted after the game. They gave up that game-winning touchdown. I get the defense, Mike, did not have a good last drive. However, they only gave up 21 points. If you take away that last drive, it was only 14 points, which has been pretty good for them all year. Yeah. I feel like the defense should have been in that position, Mike, in that 4th quarter. We had every opportunity to put that game away, and our offense, once again, could not show up when it matters most. And they didn't score more than 20 points again, Mike. We have not scored more than 20 points in a game in the last, how many games now? Since last year in December, I think it was.
The Steelers game.
Yeah, we have not scored more than 20 points since last year in December. That's insane. But again, it's the sequences of plays in the 4th quarter, the play calling in particular. I was not impressed, and that's why I bring up Kevin Stefanski. It has to be on the hot seat right now, because this team, Andrew Berry, has had a damn good draft, and it's showing. Damn good draft. You have all the pieces right now, young guys and even some veterans you can work with and maybe do something. The division right now is very weak, Mike. The Bengals are pretty much done for the year with no Burrow, obviously. the Baltimore Ravens, I don't know what's going on there this year. They're an absolute shell of what everybody thought they would be.
Their defense is awful.
Defense is awful. Lamar's hurt, out. I don't know when he's coming back. And then Pittsburgh is number 1 right now. I mean, they look decent, but I don't know if I don't love their team. Look at their schedule down the stretch. They got some tough games. The division's actually wide open. The same division we haven't won since, I think, 1986. And this 1 year where it's wide open, we're not in position because I think mainly because of our coaching right now. We don't have an identity offensively. We have the defense to do it. We have one of the best defenses in the NFL. But from an offensive perspective, we don't have an identity. And I've said this for a long time. I don't think Kevin over time to me has proven that he can't call plays and be a head coach at the same time. I think it's too much to manage. I've reached out to former coaches myself. I reached out to a high-level offensive coach who won 3 national championships with Urban Meyer, had 2 at Florida, 1 at Ohio State. And he pointed out all the reasons to me last year, and I brought it up in this show, about why it's the difficulties for a head coach to call plays and manage the team at the same time. It's a lot more difficult than people think. You get pulled in so many different directions all week. And I think Kevin shows it. And Mike, today's the first time, Mike, we've had a running back rush for over 100 yards in a game, again, since November 12th, 2023. That's almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Since then, Mike, that they've had 32 games in that span. They're 10-22 since then. That's less than 500. And they're second most in penalties in the NFL since then, Mike. So you have a losing record. You've won 10 games in 2 years out of 32 games, and you're the second most penalized team. And when you watch them, just everything we've seen, they have no identity offensively. People say this is the old Kevin system this year, but I sometimes it looks like and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what this is. I don't know if they even know what it is. And, every week with this guy, we get the same answer. That some people in the media don't want to question him. Some people do. Here's Kevin after the game. Typical answer. You got to look at the tape, and it's disappointing.
All right, obviously, extremely disappointed to not come away with a win there. We need to do a better job closing out, and that's an offensive thing, defense, special teams, coaches, players, you name it. We got to come away and be at our best in those moments, and we were not. And that's the disappointing, frustrating part for me. But we'll keep grinding. We'll get back and get back to work. That's what we got to do. Take that. Any questions?
Kevin, can you just talk about just the offensive drought once you got to the fourth quarter if you're doing this?
Yeah, just felt a little didn't get into very many advantageous down and distances. Ended up in too many third and longs. There were penalties. We just have to be better. Have to score some points.
Would you do anything differently on the next to last drive? We ran 3 plays in 11 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, we ran it twice. They called their timeouts. Felt decent about the pass. Obviously, got an incomplete there. Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, Tony, whenever you don't come through in a drive, you always think about doing something different. Yes.
Was that a throwaway on third down? Something's not there? Or
yeah, I got to see it. I'm not sure.
He's got to see it, Mike. He's not sure. That's the answer we always get. And then, after a loss like that, they're 1-4. Hey, let's ask Miles about, let's not ask Miles about his offense, maybe, or the team, why they keep falling short. Hey, Miles, what'd you think of Carson Wentz for the Vikings?
Really fun. Then you talk about the way Carson came through, left the game with a shoulder injury, came back in the third quarter and kind of played lights out in the second half. Can you just talk about how he did?
I mean, he did well enough to win.
No, that's a dumb question. I can't believe the media asked that.
Oh, that's still on? Sorry. Yeah, it's a good time to ask about Carson Wentz, Mike. Sure he was just thrilled about that. Oh, man. That might have been, Mike, one of the worst press conference moments we've seen in the 3 years of doing this.
You can tell his face. Miles is such a well-mannered dude, and he's such a nice guy. And he was frustrated, you could tell.
I think he was like, what the hell?
There's a part of him that just wanted to crash out.
What the hell did you just ask me? Jeffrey, good to see you, brother. He said, Kevin says the same thing every press conference. Yeah, he does. B. Scrolls, good to see you, brother. His time is up. Yeah. Well, you did enough to win the game. But Mike, again, to wrap up my take on the game today, Browns are +2 in turnovers today, Mike, which is something we haven't seen in a while. The Browns +2, not just +1, +2 in turnovers. And they still lost. And so, again, I feel like the Browns, Mike, since 2020, I got this stat for you. The Browns are the 4th most penalized team in football since 2020, Mike. Those other 4 teams, Dallas was 1, Titans are 2, Jets are 3, Arizona's 5, the Browns are 4. the 4 teams, the only one that still has the same head coach since 2020. Next week, Mike, the Browns go on the road to Pittsburgh, and the Browns historically, after those on the road Pittsburgh games, that's when Jimmy Haslam's fired Hugh Jackson. That's when we've ever since. If you go back and look at the history, I can't think of all the top of my head, but I remember when we fired Hugh after the Pittsburgh game. After Pittsburgh games, Haslam sometimes, Mike, will make decisions, and there's no indication right now or anything that Kevin is on the hot seat. But I think, like a lot of people think tonight, Mike, that he should be on the hot seat because they should have won that game today. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, I think ultimately you point the finger at him at the end of the day. Like a lot of losses I've seen in recent years, it comes down to him. You're the head coach of the football team. When the same problems repeat itself over and over and over again, I got to ask you as the leader. You're the guy. And it's like I brought up here last week, insanity, the definition of it, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And I feel like that's what we see with the Browns right now, Mike. But will they fire him though? I don't think they will. It didn't sound real encouraging again. If you guys remember this, zero accountability from ownership before the season, they're going to do whatever it takes. Remember, they're working hard in Berea and they're cracking eggs. If you didn't hear it, remember this?
People that discount our belief and our passion for winning are sorely mistaken. And if you want to come down here and get to know us and have a real conversation to see our passion, I welcome that. We care about this team. We care about our fan base. We care about the city. Everything we try to do here is to win every day. Last year was candidly a disaster, and it pissed us off. It pissed our players off. It pissed the coaching staff off. I know how much it pissed our fans off. I apologize the language, but that's just true, right?
Yep.
And our fans care about this club like it's their own, and we want them to. But we're doing everything we can to win. We're going to continue to do everything we can to win. And listen, sometimes you got to break a few eggs to make a good omelet. And we're going to continue to do that. We're going to take big swings, and whether that's signing players or drafting guys, whatever that takes, we're going to do it. And by God, one of these days we're going to be hosting Lombardi, and I can't friggin' wait. So thank you to our fans. Keep supporting us. Last year was last year. We're moving on to 2025.
A lot of carton of eggs, like Mike, like I've said. Anyways, but like he said there, we're going to do whatever it takes to get play. He mentions players, whether it's drafting or trading for players. They don't ever mention if you're the coaching, what I mean, which I know he's not going to say that publicly, but if you're willing to do whatever it takes to win, you should really seriously reconsider and reevaluate your head coach right now because something's not right here. It's again the same result over and over again. And when you watch that game today, I don't know how in a lot of these games, they're the most penalized, second most penalized team since 2023, fourth most since 2020. They don't commit to the row when they should. I mean, they constantly shoot themselves in the foot. And a lot of times, again, I look at the head coaching, and I don't think, Mike, he's either one, A, he can't manage play calling and being a head coach, or B, he's just not the guy for the job. And so it's one of the two. And I think now we're at a point where ownership's really got to seriously consider what you're going to do because you're at a pivotal point right now. You have a very good draft class that can really help redefine the culture and kind of get some momentum going. You have 2 first-round picks this coming draft, which you're hoping to get a quarterback out of that and another high-level player who can help you. So this is a very pivotal time, and they need to really reconsider if this is the guy for the job. Because if they don't, they could do what they did back in 2018 and 2019, Mike, and 2020, and have it. You had the core guys, and you can screw it all over again. And so, that's my take on today's game with all this. It's just never enough. And I think now's the time to really reevaluate Kevin Stefanski. And, one last thing here, what JW said there, Mike, going back to what I mentioned, we're going to do whatever it takes to find players. I just don't feel like it's not like people that had a whole lot of accountability there. They think they sound like a bunch of people who they think they know it, like they've won a Super Bowl or multiple Super Bowls and they know what it takes and they're going to get it done. Like for him to sit up there and say, we're going to win a Super Bowl one day, that says like, we believe in what we're doing is correct. Even though you've won 10 of your 22 last 32 games, but you know what you're doing. Right. You made the worst trade in NFL history, but you know what you're doing. I mean, you're the most penalized, second most penalized team in the last 2 years in that 32 games. Right. You know what you're doing. Again, zero accountability. And Kevin even answered a question today where they asked him about, I think it was Tony Grossi asked, or somebody asked him about, hey, would you consider running the ball more? The sequences basically was what he was asking him between the pass and the running plays. And Kevin just said, well, it doesn't matter if we run or pass. You still got to execute it. And I'm thinking that just sounds like somebody just, it's on the players. Players didn't execute. My play calling was correct. I just don't hear any accountability of these people. And that's the biggest problem. And so I I said this last week for the apologists out there. You can keep making excuses for these guys. Keep stacking excuses, and we'll keep stacking losses because I don't see. I mean, today they had that game, Mike. I don't think there's another game they could have on a silver platter like today where they should have won, and they gave it away. But Dan's in the house. He said, "Go Bucks!" On their way to another NFC South crown. He says Stefanski is some of the best young arsenal of talent, offensive talent, and the Browns have had in years, and the vanilla play calling continues to yield the same sub 20-point results. So the judgment needs to be redirected to the sidelines. How do you not make sure to get the ball in the hands of Bond and Sampson in space? How do you not utilize the fact that you have two awesome tight ends with a unique scheme and routes? Stefanski is getting passes for being a nice guy and being better than the stop there. But yeah, Mike, I'll hand you the floor. But before we do that, or should we bring the guest up now, Mike, or should we wait till you're done giving your take real quick?
You can bring them up. That's cool.
All right. So we got a very special guest tonight. First, we're going to start with, we got our core guys tonight. We got our main guys. Our main man, Jersey's in the house tonight. Jersey, what's happening?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. You haven't seen this guy since, I don't know if he's been on this year yet in the Browns season, but he was on back in the Cavs postseason. Joey's in the house. DiBiase, what's up, Joey?
Good evening.
Good evening. And, Joey joining us tonight was somebody who actually went to the same high school as us, where I met this man. And this guy just worked for 30 days straight, Mike, nonstop, 24/7. He's been on the show before, part of production for the Kai Cenat. My man, Michael Matthews, a.k.a. Bake. Mike, what's happening, brother?
I feel like I should join everybody by saying good evening.
Yeah. Good evening. We got our boy Mike in the house. There he is with LeBron last week. I had to put it up there. I mean, that's just phenomenal. I mean, look at that.
With the king. Just two kids from Akron.
I think the king should be just honored to take the photo with you. I mean, look at that. I mean, this guy just put on a hell of a theme, Mike, for a whole month. Shout out to the production team over there. Shout out to you, Mike, and everybody. Phenomenal job.
Appreciate it. Absolutely phenomenal job, Mike. That's crazy. 30 days straight.
And a lot of people probably don't know. It's just a kid from Akron behind the scenes doing a lot of this. So if you don't know, now you know. But shout out to you, brother. Thanks for taking time to come up here tonight. But we'll go around the horn here, fellas. You heard my take. Mike, I'll start with you as always. What's your take on today's game, brother?
So my take, I'm very disappointed in Kevin Stefanski overall. I understood and even liked the play calling in the first half. You wanted to get Dillon Gabriel comfortable. Short, quick passes. I was impressed overall with Dillon Gabriel. Did exactly what he was asked to do, like you said. Didn't throw any picks. I think he finished the day with like about 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, which is near the stat line I thought he would have. I thought he would have a little bit more yards than that. And then I think he had like 10 rushing yards or something close. But overall, not upset with his performance or the offense's performance. Quinshon Judkins continues to show that he's one of the best running backs in the draft. Same thing with Harold Fannin Jr. Isaiah Bond continues to show breakaway speed. Our rookie class, offense, defense, all around, even special teams. Andre Schmidt has kind of come into it as a kicker since game one. But our whole rookie class seems to be like very, very good. But yeah, no, and everybody who's watched the show, who knows me, who knows the show, who watches a professional fan, knows that I'm somebody who doesn't like going after a person's job. Like, I'm not the guy who's really going to ever say, hey, this person deserves to be fired. I'm just not that dude. I do think something needs to change in that coaching staff. Whether I don't know if I'm quite there yet on like replacing people, but I'm definitely up for a shuffling of responsibilities at the very least. Kevin Stefanski, for all of his strengths, his biggest weakness always, not just this year, not just today, but always since he became our coach in 2020, has been fourth quarter game management. He's always been bad at it. For whatever reason, there have been a plethora of games that he just gives away because he coaches to not lose rather than coaching to win, and that's always been one of his biggest weaknesses. And maybe that changes if, like you said, Joseph, if he hands play calling to Tommy Rees. I like Tommy Rees. Maybe it gives him time to work out some more of the procedural stuff with the penalties and working on that, getting that cleaned up. But this is completely on him and the coaching staff. You can put it all on Kevin because he's the head coach, or just putting it on the coaching staff in general, minus like Jim Schwartz, and minus even, I'll give Bubba Ventrone a very small pass today because the special teams was actually not bad for once. It was just mind-boggling, some of the play calls in the fourth quarter, and it's like I didn't understand it at all.
What do you think of this comment here? Dan says Kevin Stefanski's strengths: nice guy, great beard. Weaknesses: he can't score points or win a football game. That's a hell of a comment, I gotta say. Go ahead, Mike, I'm sorry.
But yeah, no, that was about it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. But I've been saying I think he needs to hand off play calling at the least to Tommy Rees, and everybody I know, somebody I know who knows Tommy Rees and says he's elite. He's a dude. That's a term they use in the industry. It means you're elite. Is that you're a dude. So I'd like to see it. This guy worked for Nick Saban, and Nick Saban liked him to call plays for him, and still speaks highly of him. I mean, why not hand him over the play calling? He's been up in the booth the last couple weeks too. Yeah. We noticed, Mike. So I think maybe that's what they're prepping that for, which Mary Kay mentioned on Ken and Lima show for the season, that he could very well do that. Jersey, what was your thoughts on the game?
Well, as usual, I wasn't going to take my time up on my day off with great weather and watch the Cleveland Browns sneak up the joint again. But I did get back. I listened to a little bit on the radio in the fourth quarter. Got back to the house. I obviously watched the last 3-4 minutes with you. Went back, watched the highlights. That's a game. That's one that's, when you really think about it, it stings because that's a game they should have won. I looked at the box score. You finally 50-50 pass and run. Judkins just doing a great job, hard, aggressive runner. The production you're getting out of him. And to put your defense in that predicament again, I mean, it's just constant over and over and over and over. You can't put together a drive. I mean, you can't put together a drive in the fourth quarter. I mean, I didn't see that second to last drive, but everything I've been told is, it was just terrible play call in it, which I expect because that's what it is every week. Especially like Mike said, Mike hit the nail right on the head. Fourth quarter, these guys just cannot put a game. He can't put a game away, and it's just because he's just a passive person. Passive people in football, like Mike said, they play not to lose. You know what I mean? It's just like somebody operates a company or owns a company. You get a lot of business owners. All they worry about is not losing money. But what they do is they leave millions and millions of dollars on the table because they're not aggressive. It's the same thing. And whoever chatted in earlier, the press conferences, I bet you if you put a compilation together of all of his press conferences the last 5 years, you'd think it was the same press conference. It's the same thing. There's zero accountability. And you can't say there was accountability because if there was accountability, he wouldn't be saying the same thing. Just got to get better. Just got to get better. I mean, to hear that we haven't had I haven't had a guy rush over 100 yards in 2 years, that's enough to be fired. That is an absolute abomination of football. That shows, and why have they not? Because he doesn't stay committed to the run. He should be fired just for that. And then you go on, okay, we haven't scored over 20 points since last year. You're fired for that. But to not have a guy rush over 100 yards for almost 2 years he should be ashamed of himself. He just should have never got a job as a head coach. And here, you can't say he was a premier coordinator at that. I mean, he was up in Minnesota. He was a coordinator there. What did they ever do? You know what I mean? Maybe this guy should have just never got a job as a head coach. I'd love to know the reasons why he did, other than being probably a yes man and just completely all about analytics. But he clearly, if we're just talking about the coach this week, he clearly should not be the coach. I mean, it is. I don't know how anybody could even argue. What you're doing to these guys. I mean, these guys work their asses off all, off season, during the season, all week long practice, and you just never put them in a predicament. You never call the plays that allow them to win a game. You know what I mean? We're always in these close games. These guys are doing enough. This defense is doing enough to give them an opportunity, and you just always let your team down. Think about that, man. You let your team down every week with your play calling. So here,
they're the most penalized team, or second most penalized team, since 2023, which was the last time remember the last 32 games. It took them 32 games, Jersey, to have a guy run the ball for more over 100 yards.
Here, passive people don't hold other people accountable. He's a passive person, and that's what happens. So if you don't hold guys accountable, you get a lot of penalties. There's no identity. It's you're doing the same thing over and over and over. It's just this. I don't know how the hell. I think Cleveland's the only city that would still have this guy as a coach. I'm sure he's a great guy. And like Dan said, he's got a great beard. But he just should not be. He should not be on a sideline. He never should have been. I've never thought he should have been, even from the time they hired him. So,
what you said, Jersey, don't hurt your brain trying to figure out Stefanski's madness.
Oh, I'm not here. We're used to it now. I mean, just what I said, passive. You can't have a guy passive leading men. You just can't have a passive person, especially in a game of football. You know what I mean? So it's I don't want them, even if here I know they're playing for a draft pick next year. Just do away with him now. Put an interim coach in there. You know what I mean? And let Reese call the plays. Let's just at least give the fans that benefit and the players.
Jeffrey says, what about make Jim Shorts the head coach for the time being?
Absolutely. If he wanted to be, you know what I mean? As long as the defense doesn't suffer because of it. But he's been a coach before, so do that. See what happens. Stefanski it's very similar to a lot of people say, okay, the Watson thing ran its course, which it did. It's the same thing with Stefanski. It's just ran its course. It's long overdue. Just do away with it. Just send him out of here. You know what I mean? Put an interim coach in, and like I said, let Reese call the plays, and let's see what the hell happens. Maybe it'll be at least be entertained. At least maybe we'll score over 20 points. You know what I mean? We can all have a party over that.
If you want to beat the Browns, just score 20 points.
Yeah.
That's all they had to do today. They just had to score 20 points.
And here's, imagine, think about this. When Mike was talking, if we had I don't know, even like Vrabel or our guy that coaches Buffalo, McDermott. Um, Imagine if we had just those coaches as our. We got enough talent, and
Or
like
Todd
Dan was saying,
Bowles.
top holes, yeah. Just the players that we have, we'd be winning a lot more games. I mean, we have, especially this rookie class. I mean, we just shouldn't be in this position. So who do you blame that on? You don't blame it on players. It's never been the players' fault. It never is the players' fault. These guys are all pros. You know what I mean?
It's like the old
It's
quote:
never.
players win games, coaches lose them.
Yeah, it's bad coaching. And front office down to the coach continue to let these players down. They're not inspired, so they let them down every week, let the fans down. Just stop. My gosh, just do away with it.
Dan says head coaching position available, several first-round picks, great running back, defense, and tight ends, and a loyal fan base that openly accepts mediocrity will make you a hero if you win. Sounds like a great gig. I mean, yeah, I think we'll be an appeasing job for somebody this offseason if they did make it available. Welcome into new subscribers as well. We got some people tuned in. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. And Shabba Man Tune In Sports as well. And I'll set over to you now, Mike, or Bake. I'll call you Bake on here because we have two mics. Tune's also a Cavs content creator as well. So I know you're in the Cavs content. Check him out. But Bake, what was your thought on the game, brother? Obviously, for you, here you go, Tune. I mean, you saw my boy with LeBron. Tune's obviously a huge LeBron fan, so that was pretty dope. But what was your thoughts on the game?
You know, it was an early one for me. I didn't get to catch the whole thing. It was a 9:30 Eastern, I think 6:30 for me. I was dead sleep, like I should have stayed the entire game. Honestly, watching the Cleveland Browns, it seems like we have the same conversation year after year. Of the defense is great. They're constantly keeping us in games. 2 forced fumbles, 2 recoveries. Like that's amazing to be on the plus side of the turnover game. Have a 100-yard rusher. I didn't even know the 2023 stat. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Just
last
truthfully,
100-yard rusher since November 12th, 2023.
that is just plain ridiculous. And I think somebody in the comments had said something about Kevin's robotic voice. I always tell my family after another disappointing Browns loss, you get AI Stefanski at the press conference answering these chat GPT response answers to all of the questions that are given to him. After a while, you start to get used to being disappointed as a Browns fan. But it really sucks when it's the same disappointment year after year. I'm a little confused on how we're struggling so badly to even get the ball in the end zone. I would hate to do what every Cleveland sports media outlet is going to do here in the next coming weeks of whether or not it's time for a change immediately or wait to the end of the season. I do know that I could see a little Jim Schwartz takeover a la Greg Williams, where the defense is inspired and we overall just have a team that's looking forward to going out there every week. I think Stefanski has kind of reached the end of the road here as far as success, truthfully. But I'm willing to wait just to not have our rookie quarterbacks now have to learn somewhat of a different way of life already mid-season. But ultimately, we keep losing. Something has to change. Somebody has to go.
And that's a good point you brought up there too about both our rookies because the report came out the day before the game, and we'll get. I don't know what you guys think of this, but the day before Dillon Gabriel's big debut, a report came out from Ian Rappaport that expect to see Shador Sanders this season as well, and that you see their quote when Shador does play, not if when he does play, it would be be with a full week of practicing and a game plan built for him. So yeah, I don't know how Dillon thought about that. I mean, usually you're trying to take over and be the guy and never give that seat up again. But I'm not sure how he thought, going into his first game that knowing, hey, this guy is getting behind you. The third, he's technically third string right now, but he is the backup. You know, he's going to be playing no matter what. So you can play as good as you want. He's still playing. So that's interesting in itself. But Beast Girl says, I wish we had Mike Vrabel as head coach. He has the Patriots playing good. If you watched the show last year, Beast Girls, which I think you were around, myself, Jersey, and a lot of us were saying that for a long time that we should have kept the hometown kid. Yeah. So Jeffrey says Shador, that second preseason he was horrific. I'm not too excited to put him out there. Joey, what was your thoughts on the game, brother?
I mean, look, this is the Cleveland Browns. This is what we should expect. You know, a close game, get our hearts broken. We're used to this. I was with Jersey in terms of like not really paying attention to the game since it was early on. Went to church this morning, went to Zale's Farms, listened to the radio on the game, and you know, I'd like Jim Donovan to still be. I wish Jim Donovan was still around because, you know, radio games are always better with him. But listening to it, we were able to watch the end of the game, saw the Browns lose, and they lost, and we're like, all right, well, this is what we should expect. So not too much to take away, but I thought Gabriel played well. I thought our defense played well, and I'm with you guys on everything. I think Kevin just has to do a better job, is what he usually says.
Joey, I'll start with you. How many more games would you give Kevin? How many? And it's kind of a two-parter. How many more games would you give Kevin? How many? And what do you think will happen if you had to bet? What do you think they will do?
I'd give Kevin the rest of the season, and I think they will give Kevin at least the rest of the season. I'm not a big fan of firing coaches mid-season. You know, if we continue to lose games, I mean, it's what you expect, but I would like to at least see it through. I think you can. I would like to see him at least give up play calling here soon in the next week or two to Tommy and at least change something up. But like Jersey was saying, like Stefanski is he's not a coach you rally around. He's not a polarizing coach. These guys are unmotivated, and I just don't think Stefanski is that type of coach that you want to play for. You know, I would much rather have a guy like John Gruden in there that you can actually motivate your guys and want to play for you. But I think they'll give Stefanski the rest of the year, and it's probably what I would do.
Bake, what do you think, brother?
I think we're going to fall into this trap where we have a couple winnable games coming up with the Dolphins, the Jets, possibly even the Ravens if Lamar's not back by then, where everyone's going to kind of forget the challenges that from the other games. Then we're going to start losing again. And then I believe they'll give him to the end of the year. I say the plan is to get rid of him mid-season, or if there's even a thought of doing that, I say sooner rather than later.
Jersey, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, two things. If you, like Mike said or Bank said, if you know you're going to do it, just do it now. Because why would you keep something around that's obviously not good for the organization? So, and the other thing is, you can't run your players another 13 weeks, another 12 games, and being put in a position to lose every week. You cannot do that to these players. I mean, their shelf life is so short. You cannot do that to the players. It's. I would never, ever, ever do that. If I was an owner, I'd never do that. You know what I mean? It's you can't do that to these guys. The beatings they take. You gotta have someone out there that's putting them in the best position possible. And the players are doing enough. Schwartz is doing enough. This head coach is. It's amazing that these guys still show up every week. I mean, I know if they don't, they don't get paid, but damn. I think I was telling them, here, stick a check up your ass, man. I'm done. I'm not doing this no more. You know what I mean? Cut me. I don't care. I mean, it's like, for that reason, that's the main reason I would just do away with him. I mean, I'm just not doing that to my players. And then it gets down to the fans too. You know what I mean? So obviously the fans are first. I mean, they pay the bills, but the fans also aren't putting all this work in every week, getting their bodies beat up. You know, the short shelf life in a career. You can't do that stuff. And like Joey said, this is what we expect. He's absolutely right. But I'm tired of expecting this. You know what I mean? I'm tired of expecting to score less than 20 points and have an L. You know what I mean? I'm tired of that. Even if we ended up with 5 wins, 6 wins, 7 wins this year, you know, by a miracle. Let's say we got rid of Stefanski and and the play calling was much, much better. And as long as we were competitive, you know what I mean, and won some games, you know what I mean, and you feel like it's actually finally moving in the right direction, I'll start tuning in again. But I'm just not. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that on the Sunday. I am not taking my time, and I'm sure a lot of people are the same way. And I know 2 guys that gave up. I know 2 guys that gave up long-time season ticket holders that gave up their tickets, after last year. So it's just
And what did you think too? Because Chantel, good to see you. She said if Kevin Stefanski loses the locker room, it's over for him. Period. And Jersey, what is the one thing you noticed when that game was over today? After that game, we sat there and watched. What did you? Go ahead.
The first thing I said to you, these guys are numb to losing. They were out there laughing and smiling. They're so used to losing that it didn't even matter. It was they didn't expect anything otherwise. Because if they did, they'd be pissed off. They wouldn't have been out there laughing and smiling. Here, I know these guys are all your colleagues and your peers in the league, but that's here. That's you don't see a winning team do that when they lose a game. A team is used to winning. You don't see them doing that. Yes, they're out there and they show sportsmanship, but you would have thought the Browns won that game 60-0. And what that tells me is they're completely numb to losing. That it doesn't even faze them anymore. It don't even matter.
And the one guy in particular that stood out to me who was smiling before the last drive when they had that 30-25 seconds and after it on the field was Njoku. And it just makes you wonder, like, Njoku knows something, like, maybe is he up out of here pretty soon at the deadline? Like, just, oh, well, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes you wonder, like, what these guys are really thinking behind the scenes. Jeffrey says, I think Stefanski has already lost the locker room. The defense was not playing their best today. Yeah, the defense, I would say, had their lesser performance today. But, I mean, going into the fourth quarter, still held those guys to 14 points. And you're going against probably the best wide receiver in the NFL. I mean, they got Jordan Addison. They got great weapons over there. I feel like the offense didn't. Sometimes your better defense is your better offense, and I feel like today we didn't. In that fourth quarter, we had every opportunity to go up by at least 2 possessions. Really, we're up by 3 in the 4. We could have went down, put just a good drive together. We weren't able to do it, and so I don't know. I didn't see one helmet thrown on the ground in disgust. No. No. Professional fan, what do you think, bro?
I'm just gonna tell you what I think they'll do, because again, I said previously, I don't like calling for people's jobs no matter what. I mean, but what I think they'll do, and what it's made evident that they're gonna do, is, I mean, he's getting the rest of the season, if not next year, to like see forth the plan they already had in motion. But whether that's the right decision, I don't know. I'm just putting forth.
Do you think they'll
my
actually
2 cents.
stick with that, or do you think with Haslam's history he could make a move if this continues the rest of the year?
Honestly, the way the past 5 years have gone, and like all the reports and planning. Like, I mean, here Haslam can be a wild card every now and then, but like with at least the modus operandi the past 5 years, I really do think they're going to go through with what they already had planned in place. Now, again, Haslam's a wild card; it could change his mind, but that is absolutely my my thought on it. As I do think they'll keep him. Now, do I think he gives up play calling to Tommy Reese? I do think that is something that is going to happen, and that's more than less inevitable. They've already planted the seeds for that weeks ago. So,
yeah,
I
we
think
talked about that on the show. Mary Kay
Yeah.
Cabot went on 92 through the fan right before the season and said that it's going to be in play. Where he'll hand out the play calling to Tommy Reese. Tribe, good to see you. Ohio State world champs, the Frowns world chumps. Yeah, and I agree, Mike, that with the last part there, I think that they will hand off the play calling here. They should shortly. Yeah, I said that I called this out last year. You know, when he brought in Ken Dorsey, when they fired Van Pelt, Stump, and who was the other one? Oh, and they let Bill Callahan just walk out the door basically. When they could have stopped him, but they told him leave. Pretty much. And they brought in Ken Dorsey, and they brought in Andy Dickerson, who ended up not coaching the offensive lineman by the end of the year. It was Mike Vrabel, defensive guy, coaching the offensive lineman by the end of the year. And then they also brought in Deuce Staley, who I like. But, he brought in Ken Dorsey last year with a whole new offense that was supposed to be catered and built around Deshaun Watson. And this guy called the plays when Deshaun was in there. And I'm thinking, why would you bring in Ken Dorsey to bring in a new offense when you're number one, Kevin Stefanski? You were in Minnesota all those years in one system and basically one, with the Kubiak system and one philosophy up there in Minnesota. That's all you knew was Minnesota. That's all he knew was Minnesota. And Stump said recently on his show, when obviously he was there as a running backs coach, he said when Kevin came here in 2020, he did everything. He brought everything they did in Minnesota to here offensively. Heavy run scheme, multiple tight ends. They even had a fullback that year because Minnesota had a fullback. And then eventually, as time went on, things started to change. And Nick Chubb never averaged more than 20 yards a carry, or not 20, or 20 carries per season, which is insane after that. And he never did his whole time in Cleveland when he should have. Nick Chubb in his prime never averaged Jersey 20 carries or more in a season. And Stump said when he was there, the analytics was a lot of part of it, that they would say, if we're not running the ball for more than 6 yards a carry, just completely abandon the run. And that's insane, which it's complete bull crap, because if you're averaging 6 yards a carry, like he said, okay, you run the ball twice, 12 yards, but if you run the ball 3 times, you're averaging 4.4 like today, that's still 12 yards. If you run it 3 times, it's the same math. So it doesn't make any sense. But again, it's just the whole philosophy. But they go back to that season, Ken Dorsey. He held on to the play calling, and now you're calling plays in a different system. And we saw that win. Yes, Deshaun Watson was not the guy we all expected. He was a shell of himself, but still, you didn't help him out in any way. You didn't put your quarterback in a good position to be successful, because you as a head coach held on to play calling in a system that you had no business calling plays in. And you go back, I remember break down the film at that time. It was a disaster. Even the schematics were horrible. And so it wasn't until he gave up play calling to Ken Dorsey was when they finally scored more than 20 points and won a game. And they actually like a competent offense in the NFL with Jameis, and they had actually obviously a better quarterback than Jameis Winston at the time because he was more confident. But still, a lot of that was due because Ken Dorsey had the play calling, and they actually scored more than 20 points. Well, here we go. Fast forward to this season, Kevin takes back the play calling, and they can't score more than 20 points in any game this year. So what's the problem here? It's pretty clear to me, and I just don't see, like Chantel brought up and a bunch of other people in here, how can you keep this guy in the locker room over and I mean, if you watch Myles Garrett's body language every week, he just looks like a guy who's checked out and has no interest in this season. I think he goes out there and gives 110 percent every week. I don't think Myles cheats the game, but I think Myles just looks kind of fed up, as he should be. And he asked out this offseason. They gave him the money he wanted. He liked the money. Obviously, it's generational wealth, but Yeah, I still think Miles is not satisfied and thinks not where they need to be. I see a guy like David Njoku, been here a long time. He probably sees the writing on the wall with Harold Fannin here now, who's a star. I think will be a star in the making. But I think we could see David up out of here soon. Gerv's brought up last week, and I thought it was kind of crazy at the time about Denzel Ward. As the season goes on, I don't know. That could become increasingly likely. You never know. You never know. And so, we could start trading off a lot of these guys, these veterans that are actually valuable in the locker room and still pretty good players in their prime, because we, are constantly in a rebuild, it seems like. And we're rebuilding the rebuild again. And so, but again, you can't keep this guy around the rest of the season, because if you're gonna lose some of those veterans, you're gonna start losing other guys too, and it's gonna be really hard for you to bring guys in free agency this offseason. I don't care how much money you try to throw at them. Some guys are gonna say it ain't worth it. Deshaun Watson took the biggest contract ever. That week he told the Browns clearly he didn't think they were good enough from a football standpoint. He told them no that Tuesday, but it wasn't until they put $235 million guaranteed in his face. And he said, well, I can't pass that up. So I'll suck it up and come to Cleveland and play for you in this crap system. And, he did it. I don't think he really cared at the time. But some other guys, though, they're not going to get $235 million fully guaranteed. So they may say, yeah, you may give me a little more money, but I'm not going there because just not a whole lot of stability. And word travels fast amongst players. And I think the Browns, if they don't make some changes here soon and things get better, that, that word's going to start traveling again. And they're going to have to rely on these rookies heavily because, like they are this year, because bulk of their key guys aren't going to be guys that they can sign or bring in. They're going to be guys that they draft that are just happy to be in the NFL and they got an opportunity. So they got to do something. But anybody got anything they want to add to that?
I wonder, when Stefanski was at Minnesota and he came, Stump Mitchell was talking about he came here and he went run heavy. Is his preference still run heavy? And it's just, the executives up top want him pass the ball. I'm curious, because he, at the same time as being like passive and not someone that should be trying to lead a team, he just seems like he's just going through the motions. I'll be here as long as they let me be here, pay me. He also seems very uninspired. You know what I mean? So it's just like, was he never really able to run the offense that he thought he was going to be able to run? Because why all of a sudden aren't we running? We're not running heavy, And you said it. What Stump said. Here, if they're not averaging 6 yards a game or 6 yards a carry, stop running the ball. So, and that's pretty much that's pretty much a bullshit way of just getting just making your coach call pass plays all the time. You're not going to average 6 yards a carry consistently. You know what I mean? Who does that? So that's just bullshit to say. Well, if you're averaging 6 yards a carry, we'll run the ball a lot. Well, that's never going to happen. So part of me wonders how much of that is really going on, because when you watch him, I just can't imagine the guy he's that uninspiring.
Well, you remember the report?
He just seems like he's miserable.
Well, you remember the report from Albert Breer? On Boston radio, where he said when they fired those guys, and they never recovered since those firings. When they fired Van Pelt, Stump, and Bill Callahan out the door, they've never recovered since then, ever. They completely lost their identity. And what he said that day on that report was he was the glue of that staff. Talking about Van Pelt was the glue of that staff, excuse me, and that people were floored when they made those firings. And also that, he was the glue of that staff because Kevin's just not a very outgoing guy, he said. And Albert Breer is very well connected. By the way, when the Browns were standing on the sideline of the Ohio State-Texas game, guess who was standing there with them? Albert Breer. So I think, he knows what he's talking about. He has a good feel. He's been around a long time. He has good connections inside Berea. We'll just leave it at that. But he said it then, Jared. You remember that report? He said he's just not a very outgoing guy, and that Van Pelt was the glue. And again, they've never recovered since those firings. They lost their identity, and it's not a coincidence either. This offense looked at its best in the last 5 years when they actually won key games. Was when Dorsey was calling plays last year, and they finally scored points and won some games. And we're putting up. Remember that Monday Night Football game? They still should have won that, but you had a receiver get over, was it 200 plus yards? And the first game he called, they won against the Baltimore Ravens at home, and I think they scored over 20. Yeah, they scored over 20 points. And then when did Baker win his playoff game, Jersey? When Kevin was in the basement and Van Pelt called plays that night. So,
Right.
What does that tell you? Because the following week after that, we were in Kansas City against a Chad Henne team when Mahomes went out. Hey, Mom, how you doing? And against a Chad Henne team, and we had the ball in the fourth quarter. We could go down and score. We just 3 and out, couldn't do anything. Kind of like today. And so it's one common denominator in all this. Joey, what do you think? Could they be at risk, Joey, of losing the locker room if Kevin stays in the rest of the year? And Q-Dog, good to see you, brother.
I feel like Stefanski has lost the locker room several times throughout his head coaching career, and they just keep on going back to him. So I don't know if he's lost it already. I bet he's lost it in the past, but we'll see what happens, I guess. I mean, I think he's lost the locker room already.
Bake, what do you think, brother?
Yeah, I think if he hasn't lost it already, it's coming in the next few weeks.
And what do you think from your perspective? How detrimental do you think that could be? Could we see a guy like David Njoku maybe, or somebody, maybe Denzel Ward say, "I want to get out of here"?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, to be honest, they probably tricked Miles into, or I mean, you can't trick somebody when you pay him that much, but they probably convinced Miles to stick around under the impression that this year was going to be different. I don't think that same conversation is going to work for David. It's going to work for Denzel. I think we could see some significant changes happen here pretty soon if that does happen by him losing the locker room.
Yeah, I agree. Mike, what do you think?
I'm not sure if he's lost the locker room or not. There's not been a lot of reports. I mean, the body language isn't great after a loss and a press conference, right? Fresh after that's never gonna be. So I don't got a gauge on that yet, if I'm being 100. Now I will say contractually, like Denzel couldn't be traded until like next year. David, we discussed this on our last show. I think David is going to be traded. And this is more of an Andrew thing than it is a Kevin thing. And whether or not, because Kevin is coaching poorly, like fully agree there. He has been coaching poorly. Andrew has separated himself a little bit from Kevin, especially with this draft class. And this is an Andrew thing when he talks about contracts and extensions, because he was asked about a David Njoku extension. And the way he talks about it, it's always been a tell. Like with Nick Chubb, like as soon as I heard Andrew talk about Nick Chubb, in the off season, I knew we weren't extending him. Same thing with David Njoku. And then the Harold Fannin pick comes and it's hit. And Harold Fannin, like you said, and I agree, he looks like a superstar in the making.
Him
so,
and Quinton Judkins. We'll get to him in a minute, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're both excellent. And our first 2 picks are both excellent, too. So, and hell, Dillon Gabriel didn't even play that bad today. So, like, great rookie class. Our UDFAs are even good, but, like, that's beside the point. I can go on about our draft class until I'm blue in the face. But, yeah, no, I think David is most certainly going to be traded. I'd love to know what his market is. I know there's been a couple of tight end injuries across the league.
The Buccaneers, give us a call.
Buccaneers, maybe. I think you could probably get a bigger. I think you could get more draft capital from a team like the Bears. Colston Loveland. I mean, it's still early, but the Colston Loveland pick doesn't look great. And Cole Kmet is just okay. And that their GM has been known to like ask for a lot, or even like the Falcons, believe it or not. Because I don't know if they're going to extend Kyle Pitts. They're trying to figure out the tight end room. I think you could get more from a team like that. But Andrew's always good at that part too. He's usually good with trades other than Deshaun Watson, but I don't know if that was 100% his fault or not. Jimmy Haslam said it was his fault. Who knows what the real truth is? But yeah. So David, I think most certainly is gone. I don't foresee them making it an option for Denzel or or anybody else.
Well,
maybe Wyatt Teller. Wyatt Teller.
Maybe Wyatt or Pochich. I don't know, but I got to add this part of this, and maybe I'll be the bad guy on this, but I think it's worth bringing up, which is, hold on, my computer's on. Hey, Mike, can you take it for a second? Mike, I got to refresh. Give me 1 second.
So, but yeah, with our current veterans, the way we structure contracts, it's hard for us to trade veterans. It's always been that way under Andrew. Just the way he like puts money out is the big reason why. And is Joseph back? Joseph?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that. But
all is forgiven.
When Myles Garrett requested a trade, Mike, you remember I brought up how I made the thumbnail. It said Civil War and burrito between Myles and the Browns organization at that time when him and Andrew Berry were trading words. And Jeffrey says here, you think there's a civil war going on between Kevin and Andrew right now. I don't think there's a civil war going on between those two, but I think there could be a civil war that could initiate again. And this article came out a couple weeks ago, and I didn't bring it up at the time, but we talk about Myles Garrett and how it's highly unlikely that he gets traded this season. Obviously, he won't. They can't physically, or not physically, but they can't contractually because it would be a $68 million cap cut. Or cap hit, excuse me, dead cap hit. However, post June 1st, they could. And this article was written a couple weeks ago, and it talks about how to trade, after the June 1st date when they'll avoid that cut. And Myles Garrett got a no trade clause in that new contract as well. So I bring this up because, again, I brought up earlier Myles Garrett's body language. How, again, you look at this quote right here. After the Browns allowed 31 seconds, this is after the Baltimore game, Myles said this, quote, this shit is embarrassing. We got to be better on defense. We got to be better as a team. They slowly chipped away, and we did a solid job holding in the 3 when we could, and then eventually the dam broke, and they just did whatever they wanted, and we have to continue to play a 60-minute game. But what does that first part say? This shit is embarrassing. And this is the guy who requested a trade last offseason, was taking public shots at the GM, and the GM, him and him, kind of going back and forth. That wasn't pretty. This guy, post June 1st, could be traded. And he has a no trade clause now as well. So, again, it ain't going to happen this season because they can't. But post June 1st, so they got from now to then, you got a draft with 2 first-round picks. You got whatever decisions you're going to make. Jersey, I keep bringing this up because I still think that this could come around unless things change. And my whole point with the Civil War analogy is, could Myles Garrett try to flex his power behind the scene? I'm not saying he would do this, but could Myles Garrett go to Haslam or whoever and say, hey, I think we got some of the young pieces. Like, we're not that far away. We have a good draft, but, we need to make some changes on that sideline first. I don't know. What do you think, Jersey? Oh, hold on, Jersey. Hold on.
You're muted.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. I'm going to go back to when he hit what's his name in the head with his helmet.
Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph. When the support that he got from D. Haslam, it was unwavering. You know what I mean? they love Myles Garrett. So, and I think Myles with his agent.
The director
I
of
don't.
football operations for the Browns is heavily connected with that agency, and his wife is a big executive there. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's if he went in that front office or he went upstairs to the top to the executive and said, "There, this has got to change, or I want out." Absolutely, absolutely they cave in. Yeah, he just hasn't done it yet, and I get it. You know what I mean? It's no player wants to have to do that shit, and it's probably not who he is. But at some point, I mean, my gosh, like I said, your body can only take. He's played so long, along with all the other guys. Denzel Ward. These guys have all played so long; they deserve to win. And if any of them requested a trade tomorrow, I wouldn't blame any of them. I mean, they've just continued to lose. They've just been put in a predicament to lose every week, and they've done it enough. They've given enough to the city, given enough to the Browns. They want to go somewhere and have an opportunity to win. I don't blame them one bit. I would actually encourage it. I'd be glad for them. So, but yeah, I could certainly see him, especially after whatever was said to him to get him to sign that contract. And I don't really care because people say, well, they gave him $160 million. I don't care. Somebody else
Well,
would
the
have
fact
given
you
it to
got
him.
that no trade clause thrown in there tells you where his mind is.
Oh, I know. But what I'm saying is that's market value for him. You know what I mean? And if they didn't want to pay it, they're just going to collect the money somewhere else. So he doesn't owe the Browns anything. The Browns owe him. I hope he does. I mean, if they don't, here. And the other thing, I'm to kind of switch gears a little bit. I can't see them if they're really that if Haslam is that enamored with Arch Manning. You know what I mean? Let's just say Arch Manning by the
Who
end
has
of the
not
year.
looked good this season.
No, has not. But he hasn't looked terrible. He makes some plays that
here and there, but he hasn't been what he's not worthy of that.
no, I'm
them
saying by
targeting
the end.
him.
Let's just say by January rolls around.
Yeah, and it could change. You never know.
Right. And that's the way they go. This shit's not going on with a Manning there. They'll never let him come here. You know what I mean? They've already shown that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here after the season.
Well, what if you even had a quarterback available in the market all of a sudden in the off season? You had those 2 first-round picks. Who's trying to come here? Be a trade. You know, I mean, who wants to come? I don't. You know what I mean? Like nobody. Not right now. He said, "Stop drinking the Manning Kool-Aid." Good to see.
I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, but I'm not the guy.
Yeah, we're not drinking the Kool-Aid. They're the ones that said they're drinking the Kool-Aid.
They are.
Yeah,
they're the ones that are willing, that are enamored,
because they're very
him.
close friends with that family.
Right.
If the Ravens fired John Harbaugh, Brown should scoop him up. That'd be interesting. We need a coach like Mike Tomlin. I like the guy at the DC we went against today, Brian Flores, personally. But Joey, what's your thoughts on that, brother, with the Myles Garrett thing? Post June 1st. I mean, what do you? That's another thing. Could it come back around if we don't make some changes?
I mean, I don't think Myles is going anywhere for the time being. I'm not sure how we got him to sign that extension, but he is here, and I just I don't see us moving him anytime soon.
Bake, what do you think, brother?
I just remember earlier in the offseason, everyone was asking, oh, Myles must know something that we don't. I would love to know what that was in order to get him to stick around.
He
At
did
this
say
point,
What's that?
Miles did say in an interview he knew something that he was told by general management. Bake's right, yeah.
hopefully it's if we don't get it right this year, we're going to sell the team. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be great.
But honestly, I think at this point, it's going to be another disappointing year that we're all going to look and say, oh, well, at least we have 2 first-round draft picks that we probably will trade one of them down and waste one on another quarterback. I definitely agree with the stop drinking the Manning Kool-Aid completely. He's looked rather normal, I'd say. So if the plan is not with Gabriel or Sanders here in the future, we're going to be in for the long run, as
Would
we
any
always are.
Yeah. And real quick, would any of you guys be interested in CJ Stroud if he's on the market this
No.
offseason? Mike says no. Jersey?
I mean, try anything. I mean, gosh darn, he's shown he can throw the ball. I mean, what's happened to C.J. Stroud since his first season? I mean, I never go back. I never blame the player. You know what I mean? I never blame the player. Players just don't just fall off like that. If there's a confidence issue, you know what I mean? And I
Or a
think until
structural issue around
yeah,
him.
there's something wrong. You know what I mean? He probably hit that sophomore slump, and they have not been able to get him coached out of that. It's still early enough that you could. You know what I mean? So I absolutely would. And compare what I have standing on my sideline now, why would I not take a Stroud? You know what I mean? I'd rather run with Dillon Gabriel or Shador Sanders. You know what I mean? I mean, I know Stroud can throw the ball. But it's confidence. Something's happened with his confidence.
Go ahead, Big.
The Buckeyes fan in me wants me to, say yes, I would love to have Stroud, but the Browns fan in me, no more quarterbacks from the Texans, please.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Let's
Yeah,
just
Dan
let
said,
it.
are we good on trading for Texans quarterback
Yeah.
for a while? Well, I would say we have a different structure in place this time if we did do it.
That's got nothing to do with the Watson. I mean, that's just, you know what I mean? I don't care
Yeah,
about that.
I wouldn't.
Stroud's actually looked pretty good the last couple weeks, and their O line is horrible. I think outside Cincinnati, Houston might have one of the worst O lines. Like they are terrible. But I don't think Stroud's going to be on the market. I think they'll probably just stick with him.
I will see. I mean, you never know. All news. Good to see you. Said go get Baker. LOL. Yeah, just go ahead and bring him
4-1,
back.
baby.
Bring him back and redo it.
Give me Dante Moore.
Oh gosh, and Fernando Mendoza.
I like
guy-
Fernando Mendoza a lot, dude. He's really
Yeah,
good.
I'm sure the NFL's just dying to market that guy. So they got to draft a quarterback in 26, thinking that there's a savior and make him a loser, bring him to this losing mentality organization. I don't mind them taking a quarterback if they make those changes and change the structure of the organization. Because if they don't, then you're right. They're going to continue the same thing. But if they bring in people who can actually evaluate a quarterback and develop a quarterback, which I don't think any of these people right now can because they've proven otherwise. I mean, you look at all the quarterbacks that have been here since 2020. Baker Mayfield was put in this offense. It was dink and dunk. Jacoby Brissett put in this offense. It was all dink and dunk. Then they brought in Deshaun Watson. We're going to force you in dink and dunk. Jameis Winston. We're going to until they let Ken Dorsey call the plays, and they were trying to they just threw the ball more down the field. But every quarterback under Stefanski's play calling jersey, it's just been kind of they've all been in the same kind of dink and dunk, and just bland and vanilla, and just boring. No creativity, no nothing.
All right. It doesn't matter who you plug in there. We've said it over and over and over. And you have to run the ball. You know, people, if you think about, I'm sitting here watching the Patriots, think of Tom Brady, think of Peyton Manning, think of Joe Montana. I got to watch Joe Montana, Roy Aikman. Every quarterback's been successful when they ran the ball first. You know what I mean? Brady's the greatest ever. They ran the shit out of the ball in New England. You know what I mean? I could always remember Peyton Manning run that stretch play, running the ball. I mean, it's that you gotta run the ball, and Stefanski or somebody's philosophy.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, sorry. It's taking that option away.
Yeah. Jeffrey says, look up Mac Jones. I will say this. If Mac Jones continues the success he's having this year, that could be a guy they could look to bring in the offseason. Maybe either a bridge or maybe a guy they believe could be somebody. I mean, he has looked pretty good. Again, it's crazy when you put a guy in actually, a good situation with good coaching that he can maybe be something, kind of like Sam Darnold. What happened to Sam Darnold? So you never know. Could Mac Jones be the next Sam Darnold in the making? Possibly. I was impressed with the other night, just his toughness and that, he doesn't have some good decision making at times, and maybe he could be what people thought he would be coming out of Alabama. Mac Jones has proved that sometimes a good system can make it for a mediocre quarterback. He said, "What about Bryce Young, Mike? Do you think Bryce Young will be available? And would you be interested?"
Do I think he's going to be available? Probably. Do I want that? No. I think Bryce Young and Dillon Gabriel's production numbers could be very similar. I think if you want that skill set, you kind of already have it in Dillon Gabriel. There was another comment. Hold on. Yeah. Bryce Young, I think it would be durable. We might be able to get him for a third or fourth in receivers. He has worse than ours. I wanted to point something out about this comment. Ted McMillan is better than every receiver the Browns currently have on their roster, and
By
he's
a
a
lot.
rookie. Yeah.
By the way, what'd you think of Jerry Jeudy dropped the ball again today, Mike, on that third down?
Dude, I was sick to my stomach. Judy thought that he got over on one. He's like, all right, the camera didn't see it.
Again, another thing. I mean, I know guys get paid. They got to, key in on the ball, and that's their job. But why is the same thing happening over and over again there? We've seen receivers drop passes all year, not just Judy. It's like, is there any accountability in that building? Culturally, it's just something's wrong. Where the same thing happens over and over.
The ball to Bond. I think Bond is capable of catching the football, but outside of him,
yeah, I agree. Mike, I got to ask you real quick though. What did you think of the report for everything of Shador is going to play this year? What did you think of that?
I mean,
B. Skrill said Judy is booty.
Yeah, right now he is, man. He really is. It's a damn shame. I thought he finally turned a leaf after last year, after his struggles in Denver. But yeah, as far as the Shador stuff, man, I mean, we kind of already knew, right? Because I mean, Haslam himself said it from the horse's mouth, the head honcho.
Yeah,
but
it wasn't breaking news, but the timing of it to me, the night before the kid's first game, that's what
it's almost like chilling out a certain, the fan base. You know what I mean? Like, hey, listen, DG's out there now, but don't worry, Shador's going to play soon, and maybe. And here, I get it. The media magnet that Shador Sanders is. You want to get that news out. And here, I want to see both rookies. I mean, unless in the next couple games after this game, Dillon Gabriel just separates himself and just looks like a true blue franchise guy in 2 games, there's no reason not to play Shador. Like even if Dillon looks serviceable the next couple of games and he's, moving the ball, he's getting, he's not turning it over. He's getting like 150-yard games, maybe a touchdown. Like, yeah, still put in Shador, because at the end of the day, what do you got to lose? You know what you have in Dillon. Keep Dillon around. Maybe he'll be a good backup, like you've been saying the whole time, Joseph. Maybe he'll be your long-term backup. You know what you got in Dillon. But like, even if he's doing that, unless Dillon separates himself and is like undeniable, yeah. You got to see Shador. And I want to see Shador, just want to make sure he's ready.
Hey, Dan, you and I are thinking the same thing. Why did instill confidence in a young QB? Let him know he's getting benched soon. Only
it's a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. Bake, what do you think about this real quick, bro? I know you got to get out of here. You got any final thoughts on this and the Browns? Appreciate you for sticking around.
Of course, it was a pleasure being back on the show with you guys. I want to say with Sanders, if you're going to draft him, knowing the spectacle that brings to Cleveland, you know that you have to play him eventually. Sure, it doesn't provide much confidence for Gabriel. At the same time, I think this is a one of the things where they made their bed and they just have to lay in it eventually. You either, move on from them, trade them to a team that, maybe like the Raiders that are obviously struggling with some QB play, or you constantly have the mime interviews happen weekly.
That is
af-
one.
After a while, you have to decide if you're going to live into this thing that you've given this expectation of him playing for your franchise by you drafting him so abruptly and so randomly. So now you have to deal with it.
I agree. Yeah, they got to live with it, all right.
Yeah.
Big, appreciate coming on, brother. In case you guys don't know, Big, he's just got done with Mafia-thon. He's part of the production team over there. 30 days straight. You got anything you want to add to that real quick, Big, if you got here? Tell the audience what was it like behind the scenes for 30 days, real quick.
It was something that I'll never forget. I'll tell you that. For good and bad reasons. It was the least amount of sleep I've got consecutively. Ultimately, we made some history, Guinness World Record book holder, some crazy accolades to the name. Also a pretty, well, let me see how to turn this on here. Pretty decent watch that I got from it. Let me see. Doing my little Shador impression really quick.
He's still in the crib too.
Sir, you see it. I'm about to do my Shador impression and stop talking here pretty soon. But it was a pleasure having you guys, just to talk to about the Browns out here. There's nobody that's really into football like that. It's a basketball, family for sure. But yeah, man, the Browns will get it together, hopefully before, I die.
Let's hope. We had these same conversations back in high school about the Browns.
Literally.
Literally, nothing's changed in 10 years. But I appreciate you, brother. Love you, brother. Continue all the great success, and I'll hit you up as soon as I get off the show here. I'll hit you up and save my number or make sure we still got the same numbers and stuff. So
Definitely.
because I know
Love,
you'll be
brother. I'll
back.
see you soon.
Yeah. I'll see you soon.
All right, guys.
Peace.
Good talking, brother.
See you.
Yeah.
Hey, my phone's dying right now.
That's we're getting ready to wrap it up. We went a little longer tonight than we thought we would, but there's a lot to talk about. But okay, Jersey's out. So.
My phone's about to die. That was
He's out of here.
That was the most clutch. My phone's about to die ever. My phone's about to die. Blip.
But
It's funny. Sorry.
died. But shout out to Bake, by the way.
Oh,
shout out to
absolutely. Shout out to him and all of his accomplishments. That whole team over there. It's amazing what they do. Shout out. He should be proud of his accomplishments. That's a huge deal.
Yeah, and he'll be back on the show soon. We'll be me and Mike will actually we'll all be together soon here in a couple weeks, but leave it at that. But while he's got the time off for the obviously get back to work, it's a year-long grind, Mike, as we know. With he's constantly busy, man. But especially with number one stream in the world. But fellas, one with this though on some positives. I want to end on some positives. The rookie that's impressed me the most, they've all been really impressive, and for the most part, better than I thought. I think Dylan Sampson right now is a little underutilized.
We'll get there.
But I think he'll hopefully find a groove again in this offense if they make the change to the play calling. However, Quinshon Judkins looks like the best running back in this draft by a lot, and I think we hit an absolute grand slam there. Quinshon Judkins, Mike and Joey, I love watching this guy play every week. Go Bucks. When in doubt, just go draft the Buckeye running back. And we really hit a home run on that pick, Phil. I think he's the guy that gives us hope every week that we could win a game with it. We know our defense can, but our offensively, I think he's the one guy every week that I think we can count on. And his juice right now and just his ability to cut out of the holes, drive guys, break tackles, get those extra yards, his versatility, his blocking. We saw the chip block he put on Micah Parsons where he set Micah Parsons to the ground. I mean, the dude's fearless. He's the guys in the locker, you can tell, just absolutely love the kid already, which they've said publicly and privately. But Quinshon Judkins has been my most impressive rookie. And this whole class, really, what do you guys think? Mike, I'll start with you. Or Joe, you go. You go ahead, Joey. What's your thoughts on the rookie class? Who's been the most impressive to you?
Out of who the Browns drafted?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say Judkins for sure. I like you said, I don't think it's ever a bad thing to take a Buckeye.
Yeah.
I wanted them to take as many as possible. I mean, look at Emeka down in Tampa. He is flat out balling right now, and probably favorite for offensive rookie of the year. Judkins is definitely in that conversation, but yeah, Barry. We talked about before the draft, all off season. Barry had to have a good draft, and I mean, he is our rookie class looks historic. The amount of guys we've gotten.
Yeah. It looked good.
You you took the words right out of my mouth. I'm going to be doing a show here shortly on the Professional Fan where I get deep into this, saying that this could be, is this not only Andrew Barry's best draft ever, could it be one of the best drafts the Browns have ever had? Period. Because there are dudes that I'm looking at that have all pro capability, all in the same class. It's hard to get one in like a 3-year span, let alone get a couple. Judkins has been just insanely productive. Like all of the like question marks that he had coming out of the draft process, he has just like shot down his vision. His vision isn't great. His burst isn't all that. He has just completely shot that down. I haven't seen a rookie running back with that vision and that capability to cut in a very long time. And again, going to sing his praises, going to say the name every time I can. Carson Schwessinger is still my favorite rookie. Quinshon Judkins might be having offensive rookie of the year hype. Carson Schwessinger already has defensive rookie of the year hype. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it. This dude he looks like a veteran out there. He's good in coverage. He somehow, it doesn't matter which hash of the field he's on, he will always somehow be involved in the tackle, is what I've noticed with this kid. Like, he's fast, he's strong, he's smart, he's everything you want in a Mike linebacker. And the only disservice to that linebacking room right now is that JOK isn't healthy, because if he was, I would love to see him and Carson next to each other. That would be a sight, dude. But he's still my favorite rookie as of right now. Our entire rookie class, even the UDFA's Aiden Huntington, aka Turtle, just been an absolute monster on offense, defense, special teams. He probably plays the most snaps out of any rookie. Oh yeah, and he's productive. Yeah, he's awesome.
I got to bring up this too. My favorite, he was actually my favorite free agent signing back in the summer, and I brought it up on the show. And
yeah,
I thought he was a steal. Mike already knows what I'm talking about. Malik Collins.
Oh my God.
I don't know how we stole him, but we stole him. That guy, when I watched his tape with the San Francisco 49ers and what we gave up to get him, and the fact that they just gave him away like that, I was like, I think we got a steal in that guy, because this guy is very twitchy for a 3-tech, has really good moves, fast, gets off the ball quick, dominant, and he's shown that in Cleveland. This guy's been an absolute steal for us, and that front line is probably the best front line of football right now, and he's a big part of it. Malik Collins. And what did we give up for him, Mike, in that trade?
There wasn't a trade. We just signed. He was a free agent.
We just signed. I thought we traded for him. No, we just signed him. Oh, yeah.
He was a free agent.
Okay, so we just signed him. But that was a hell of a signing there. Probably might be my favorite signing we've ever made, honestly, in free agency under this regime, because that guy was an absolute steal. He's been highly productive, and it's definitely somebody I'd want to keep around for sure for as long as we can. What we always end with, though, fellas, real quick, score predictions for next week. Go ahead, Joey. I see you smiling. What do you got? We're on the road at Pittsburgh.
Right?
Yeah.
Oof. Man, I wanted the two old heads to play each other this game. I really wanted Flacco and Rodgers, but unfortunately Flacco just was not playing well and couldn't make it till week 6. Or no, week 5 next week? Week 6. No, week 5.
6.
Week 6. Week 6.
Damn,
yeah.
Already.
It's gonna be low scoring, you know that. I'd say I'll say the Steelers put up 25, the Browns 10.
So 25-10 Steelers. Chantel has 28-10 Steelers. So pretty close.
There you go.
Mike, what do you got?
I'm going to be the beacon of optimism. Dan always calls me the ultimate homer optimist. You know what? Why not? Why not? Because at the end of the day, we might win 4 or 5 games. We might win less. We might win 6, 7. Who knows? But I'll tell you what. If I got to go down like Macho Man Randy Savage and just predict a win every week until I'm right, I will. Because I gotta show love for my team. I still love my team in spite of all the negativity. And with that, Browns 17, Steelers 10.
We're gonna lose. You jinxed. Dan just said it, Mike. Homer alert.
I never claimed to be anything else.
Every time you pick us to win, we lose, though. It seems like this year. You need to pick the opposite, then we might win.
No, because I called the Packers game.
I'll give you that one, but
I think the Steelers are. I think the Steelers are going to win the North, man. The way the North is playing out, it's giving me a Brett Favre Vikings type run. I wouldn't be surprised if Rodgers and the Steelers went to the AFC Championship game.
Tom ain't losing these guys at home off a bye. Pittsburgh 19, Browns 10. Havoc says, good to see you, Havoc. Steelers 24, Browns 11. Mike, the Browns are not beating the Steelers, Chantels.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
The Browns never win in Pittsburgh, and I don't think that's going to change because I don't believe in this play. Unless I see some changes, nothing's going to change. They can't score more than 20 points. So why are they going to go on the road in Pittsburgh and score more than 20 points all of a sudden? I don't think they will. I'm going to say Pittsburgh. What was the score of that Baltimore game? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? Was it?
I don't remember.
It was. I got it right here. That was 41-17. I'm going to say Steelers 35, Browns 16. And I'm not going to bet. It's not going to be. It's not because the defense played bad. It's going to be the same old stuff. It'll be competitive through probably a little over 3 quarters. Just like that game, and all of a sudden the defense will get gassed out because they've been on the field too much because the Browns can't sustain drives. We won't commit to the run. We'll try airing it out downfield with Dillon Gabriel. They had a balanced attack this week, but that's going to make up for it next week with a ultimate air raid attack on the road in Pittsburgh with Dillon Gabriel's second start, first, real road test. We're going to come out and throw the ball probably 40 times next week with Dillon Gabriel or more. And, yeah, that'll be the story of the game, just like it has been every year. That, the Browns can't score more than 20 points and that they're going to throw the ball too much and that eventually the defense will get gassed out and the other team's offense will look, the greatest offense ever for a quarter and a half to end the game and go on this huge explosion of points. So, again, I got Pittsburgh 35, Browns 16. So, Mike, I hope you're right, though. I mean, you're definitely keeping the optimism.
I got to. Someone's got to.
he said basically Browns anything under 20. Yeah, pretty much. Joey, I appreciate you coming on tonight, brother. We'll see you on the next one.
Man, we'll see how it goes. I'd say if TJ Watt sacks Gabriel once, Gabriel might be in the blue tent.
So we might see Shador next week.
Maybe.
I don't know. But we'll see you, brother. Appreciate it as always.
All right. See you guys.
Peace.
Later.
Well, Mike, it was a hell of a show again tonight. We only went 9 minutes over what we wanted to. But shout out to Bake for joining us tonight. Appreciate him taking time. He's been a very busy man. You can see he was still out there at the mansion, Mike, where they filmed Mafia-thon, clean it up. And it's a lot of work he puts into it behind the scenes. Shout out to him. Shout out to Joey DiBiasio for joining us tonight. Shout out to you, Mike. Shout out to Jersey. Shout out to all you guys in the chat. I mean, all the new subscribers, Mike, and just everybody that's chatted in and, taking time to come watch us every Sunday night, Mike. We can't thank them enough.
Absolutely. We appreciate it so much. All the new subscribers, all the old subscribers who are hanging in with us and who have for so long. We appreciate all of you so very much.
Good night to you as well, Chantel. She said, Mike and Joseph, great show as always. Appreciate you, Chantel. And, yeah, Mike, they need to like, subscribe, and share. I mean, they have
Yes,
it by
they
now.
do.
I mean, they're missing out. I mean, I don't know.
And ding that notification bell if you're on YouTube.
Yes, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, subscribe. Please subscribe, share the word, go back and rewatch us, and put clips out on social media and tag us in it. Spread it all around, and we'll repost it. We really appreciate you guys and all your support. And yeah, good to see you too, Jeffrey. So thank you for the show. See you guys next time. See you next week, Jeffrey. And like, subscribe, share all the good stuff. And we'll see you guys next one. I'm out of here. I'm saluting, Mike. What are you doing?
What am I doing right now?
Yeah.
What am I doing? I'm swimming in a lake right now, saluting.
Well, make sure you don't drown. We want to see you next week. We're out of here.
Later.